Welcome to Smoke and Mirrors, proudly presented to you today by that feeling after a really deep nap and you wake up and you're not really sure even what city you're in. Also brought to you by hoodies. You know, hoodies. You wear them. And now a theme song. This is Smoke and Mirrors, and we have a new logo. This is Smoke and Mirrors here. We will go. We do comedy and culture and that bullshit. And this is Smoke and Mirrors. Okay. And now, your host, Carlos Karim Wyndham. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm saying hello to you and you and you and you. And hey, everybody, welcome to Smoke and Mirrors. Huh? How about it? Hey, look at this fucking shit, right? Holy shit. Talk about looking official. This makes that other thing look like garbage. Smoke and Mirrors. If you're new here, welcome and thank you. And thank you for being here now that there is an official fan page. That may make it harder for other people to find. But that's okay, because what that means is that this is still some secret, super exclusive shit, and we're here together on the ground floor when it's still really cool before all the popular kids find out, and then this is not the place to be. Also, it's now 21 after white man's time already loses. Welcome to Smoke and Mirrors. Yup. Yup. That's how you know you are really here. Um, it's hard for me not to keep referring to this thing. I actually am very, very proud of it. I didn't do it. I want to shout out my man Dominic Vieda, also known in the Bay Area as Dom the Sign Painter, also known as Treat You Nice, also known as DJ Treat You Nice. If you followed either his or Company of Prophets or the Addict's careers in the Bay Area, in the hip hop area scenes in the late '90s, that treats you nice. I didn't want to have us move to this fan page. I didn't want us to start doing our own real thing until we had some real things to do it, because I am a Libra and I have an aesthetic. And it is important to follow it through. This is my man's. We've been down since he did this. He designed this joint, right? Like we've been down since back in the day. You know what I'm saying? We've been down since back in the day. And yeah, absolutely, that's right. You know who it is? It is Treat You Nice. Uh, Genius, a genius. All of my friends are, and I'm very lucky and fortunate to be surrounded by geniuses who really do bring the real skills to the table. And so thank him for this. We're gonna turn it into some shits. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna make because we're doing fan page situation. We're gonna have some stickers. We're gonna make mugs. Um, you tell us what else to make. I don't know. Also, all of that will begin to happen once we get a full-on Patreon going. We're going to do that. That's going to be fun. Exclusive opportunities to have a smoke session with you and your circle, huh? Up to you and 6 to 10 of your people. We can zoom that up, and we'll do that exclusive via the Patreon once we get there. We're not there yet. There's not one, so don't look for it because there shouldn't be, because that would imply that this is anything better than basic cable, which that would be saying a lot. That would be saying a lot. Um, while we are here, oh, you know what? Actually, I want to bring that back because we're still on the smoke and mirrors situation. And I want to bring that back because I want to shout out Bloom Dispensary. Those are our friends. Those are the good people who are providing the smoke for today's smoke and mirrors. And in fact, what I am tasting now is Narnia, a cannabis that is meant to give you a nice in the creativity space sort of a high. I don't believe shit like that about weeds. It's herb. I love it all, and it's fine. But this is really good. And Bloom is where you should buy herb if you are in that market. Or, if you are one of the youngs and you like your crackles and your smackles and your shackles, you can get that there too. Wanted to shout them out and thank them again for helping us out with this. And now we're done talking about the smoke and doing more of it. Let's do a little. Hey, here we are. Oh, there we go. Oh, boy. Okay, so it is also May the 19th. I hope you do know what that means. That does, of course, mean that it is the birthday of one Malcolm X, El Haj Malik El Shabazz. I love this photo because this represents really two heroes in my life, which is odd considering where I ended up landing on the gender spectrum, but still true. As a child of the 70s and 80s, I was not taught that being black is not only a thing to not be ashamed of, but one to be celebrated. And in popular culture and political culture and discourse, these are two of the people who really, really helped me to understand that very deeply. Muhammad Ali was a hero of mine, a hero of my father's, a hero of my uncle's. Not because he was such a great technician, though that is true. It's because he would beat white people up in front of folk, and I liked that. Malcolm and Muhammad Ali had a relationship for a period of years that ended up falling apart as Malcolm was falling out of fashion and out of favor with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Pardon me. And Elijah Muhammad insisted that Cassius Clay at the time, who would become Muhammad Ali, not associate with Malcolm because he was messing things up for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Though when I was 15, I did finally get to read the writings of Malcolm X and in particular the autobiography of Malcolm X. Much of that was fiction. Much of that was amplified by he and Alex Haley, and that was done for a reason. That was done to elevate the voice of Black folks and to elevate Black experience and to bring it forward. And so much of our history, this was said to me by somebody so much smarter than myself, so much of our history is buried, so much of our history is erased, that when we have the opportunity to write our own, it is not only permissible in every aspect, but it is also our responsibility to amplify our histories. And it is hard to amplify the import of somebody who was born at the time that he was and the space that he was, who was able to, on the wings of his intellect and voice, bring himself to a place where he traveled across the world, across the globe, and met with paupers, with queens, with kings, with revolutionaries, and really, changed and shook up the world. Really changed and shook up the world, and taught many of us a way to be, and taught me a way to be, and to be able to articulate myself fearlessly in the face of power, and in particular in the face of the heights. Whites. Whites. I had to freshen up my breath right there, so I wanted to lean into the H a little extra hard. So happy birthday to the Honorable El Haj Malik El Shabazz, Malcolm X. Thank you, Detroit Red, for everything that you gave us. And one more little known fact, he was a friend of another red-headed celebrity of his day, and that was Red Fox. Red Fox. Don't know why he spelled it with two D's, but if you ever listened to his routines, you know why it was spelled with two X's. Red Fox. That was actually something that was said by Red Fox. I take no credit for that at all. Lastly, on Malcolm's birthday, if you have not, I highly suggest reading this in addition to reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, if it is a thing you are prone to do. Definitely check out Spike's movie. It's great. Denzel's great. Spike is great. You see a lot of Denzel and a lot of Spike Lee in that movie. This, A Life of Reinvention, Malcolm X, by Professor Manning Marable. Absolutely incredible read. Absolutely incredible read. And so much more context, so much more nuance to a life than we ever could have known, given the way that we do end up having to write our histories and self-exaltations, the way that we are so often ripped down. This is a retelling and a repurposing and a reimagining of life that we had been told about by a man who continually reimagined his own life and helped so many of us imagine a world in which we could now be. Sometimes this is funny when I do this. That wasn't, but also the world is not. And what can I tell you? It is comedy, culture, and bullshit. And there's plenty of bullshit to go around. So today I'm mostly bringing, I guess, culture. What else did we want to say today? Oh, big up to hoodies, of course. As we're bigging up hoodies, it reminds me, and as I'm shouting at Bloom, it also reminds me. One of the reasons I like Bloom, Bloom Dispensary in Portland, is that they have a framework towards social justice. They have a framework where they have both their bud tenders and the main facilitators and managers. All of them are all around have a sense of belonging and inclusion and making sure that people come in. There are other places, folks who sell the canna in Portland, some who maybe even consider themselves kings, who, these kings of canna, who come up with policies, right, based on their own experiences. I have nothing to say about that. But when you create a policy in order to protect your product that can be seen and is understood to be exclusionary based along lines of race, class, and gender, and when that is pointed out to you, you choose to actively not learn, that might mean that you're stuck in a frame of white affirmative action. Now, I can't think of a bud tender around here that is like that, but the one that I'm going to miss because I have friends who work there, that's one that I'm going to miss. I am very, very fortunate, though, to have met my friends at Bloom who do not act like it makes any sense to have a no hoodies policy in an era of white supremacy after post Trayvon. I'm just going to throw that out there. That's not what the butt's for. That's Malcolm wouldn't have wanted that. In Oregon, it is election last day to get your election stuff done. If you haven't do it, get it done. Maybe that was yesterday. I don't know. Mine's already handed in. Either way, the political fortunes of those who ran are locked, and as such, I will make mention of a thing that is so interesting. I just want to say that for me, for myself, I tend to favor a political candidate who is willing to reach out to their constituency, but not necessarily those who might reach out to the constituency via threats in the DMs. In particular, not political candidates who would do such because I may have mentioned that I found their candidacies to be a bit of a dangerous thing for my community in Portland, in Oregon, because not all my skin folk are my kin folk, and I know this to be a reality. Now, I have been yelled at, threatened, hammed up against a wall by politicians, I promise you, more powerful than anyone who would be running for a city or regional council. I have had governors throw whole books up against a wall in frustration from talking with me when I refused to let them get away with some bullshit around not hearing what was being asked of them in terms of protecting the interests of Black people as a whole and brown folk as the next level of folk who really needed to be touched and be centered as the most impacted, in particular, women's and femmes. You know, if you slide into my DMs, I just have to assume that you want that smoke. And this is the right place to get it. Right now, I'm not calling anyone out by name. There's no reason why would we do that. I will say this, though. Should anyone slide up into my DMs on accidental one more time, there are going to be names drug. I will read you, honey. Don't. Only because I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear you. Last thing. And I'm going to get out of here. I had a dream, and I'd like to share it with you. It seemed that I was the proud owner of a landfish. Now, a landfish looks very much like a yellow-tailed bass, except that it has a bit of a catfish's face and evidently has legs or crawls like a snake. I didn't understand that in the dream. We were going for a walk along the pier, me and my fish named Billy. When Billy leaned out over the water, over the pier, to look down and marvel at the ocean and talk about all of the fish who lived there and how amazing it was that they still lived in the ocean. And I was looking at Billy, reminding, "Hey, Billy, don't go so close to the edge. That's getting a little close." That is when I saw in the water the shadow of a giant koi catfish. A giant koi. Looked like a goldfish with stripes, white and black, and saw the shadow lurking beneath. I screamed to Billy, "Hey, look out!" At which point the fish leapt up out of the water with a giant open jaw, and Billy fell into the water. The fish started the koi started thrashing around in the air. You know how fish do, like if you pull them, if you're fishing and the tail starts going wackadoo, started going like that. And then so it splashed back in the water. I knew it was going for Billy. And so I leapt off the dock and I jumped on its back and in one hand held up and I rescued Billy, my land fish. And then I woke up. So what do you got? What's that mean? Get at me. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with that. Hey, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending a little bit of time. We're transitioning. We're growing. We're doing some things. This is Smoke and Mirrors, and here is where there's all sorts of nonsense that happens where I'm doing the comedy and the culture and the bullshit. And here's some other opportunities that upcoming that you can smoke out with me if you want to. Next Friday, we can smoke together if you want. Well, this Friday, May 22nd, I'm going to be doing Disowned. This is going to be at 8 p.m. Pacific. So whatever time you're in, just adjust it. You should RSVP though. You should RSVP. And this is going to be Disowned, the Home Sweet Home edition. This is, of course, hosted by the invenerable Jenna Vesper. I don't know if I used that word right. I'm not sure. I was just trying to fill space. I'm sorry. And it's presented by Kickstand Comedy. That's happening this Friday. And, it would be cool if you went. I'd like for you to be there. But then, also, guess what? On May 28th, you can join me again. I'm going to host MRG Foundation's Justice Within Reach Ungala. This is going to feature the art and the poetry of Keulandi Barrett. It is also going to feature Lila Jewel Award winner Marilyn Keller, and they are going to make some music get your face whole, and it's going to be fantastic. And I'm going to be there, and you should be there, and then we can be there, and it will be like this. We'll be having real life social intercourse, though it may be a bit prophylactic. We can still have it. And also, I can't, at least at the foundation thing. I'm not going to smoke on screen, but you can smoke at the gala, and cool for you. So you should do that. It would be better if you did. You don't have to. You could not. You could totally not. You could don't do it. But I would say, to quote Judge John Hodgman, don't do it. Do it. Please do it. Hey, this has been Smoke and Mirrors. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time. Got one more special treat for your outro. If it works, it probably won't. You're watching me gear it up right now because I'm that organized. I've been your host, I guess. Host? I don't know what the fuck this is. Listen, I'm Carlos. Thank you so much for being here, friends. I really do appreciate it. This is just a way for me to keep my sanity. Maybe it offered you some too. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Do not listen to the president and wash your hands and know that I love you. Hey, what is this thing I'm doing? This is Smoke and Mirrors, and it's a hot mess. Should you support it? Probably you shouldn't. It'll only encourage me. But if you wanted to, there are three ways you could do that. One is that you could just go ahead and share it with some friends. We call that passing the J. You could start a watch party. They'd like that. Also, you could drop five on it if you want to. You could do that at Venmo, Carlos hyphen dash Wyndham, Windham, Cash App at $CK Wyndham, or PayPal me CK Wyndham. Anyway, this has been Smoke and Mirrors. Thanks so much, and I love you.
If his approach would bring about what the black man in America needs to completely eliminate the problem that we have, I would say well and good. But I very much doubt that anyone who adopts the approach that Martin Luther King has been teaching to our people in that country can point to any meaningful gains that has actually served to solve the problem.
Black Muslims have sometimes, whether you have or not, and I think probably you have sometimes, it seemed to me, been preaching hate to meet hate.
I don't advocate any kind of hate.
But there's a lot of talk that sounds very much like it.
No, I think that the guilt complex of the American white man is so profound until when you begin to analyze the real condition of the black man in America, instead of the American white man eliminating the causes that create that condition, he tries to cover it up by accusing his accusers of teaching hate. But actually, they're just exposing him for being responsible for what exists.
Well, that's something.